What's up, everybody? This is Zach with Nerd K Plus for April 10th, 2018. Hope that your weekend was well, and we're got an awesome show for you today. We did not have a show Thursday. Had some stuff going on. I was listening to my beautiful wife sing at her recital, so we had some pretty big stuff happening. So the very first few news articles is going to be dealing with the big news that happened on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we'll jump into what is happening right now. So you're caught up and everything. You're all good to go. You get your game releases. You get all that good stuff, okay? So I hope you enjoy the show, and let's jump into it. But before we do that, just a quick mention of our sponsor for today, patreon.com/nerdcave. We'll get into the details later, but that is our sponsor for this week. So without further ado, here we go. Here is the news. Spyro lives. Now, this is exciting news. We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was eventually going to happen, especially after Crash Bandicoot, the insane trilogy. The Bandicoot lived. Spyro Reignited Trilogy has been announced, and the release date has been revealed. After months of rumors and weeks of teases, Spyro the Dragon is officially back, and he's returning in time for the Purple Dragon's 20th anniversary. Activision announced today, which was when this was written, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, developed by Skylanders devs Toys for Bob. The trilogy will include Spyro 3 original PS1 outings, Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon, with new remastered graphics sound available on the PlayStation 4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, Xbox One X on September 21st. And the game will come out at $39.99. The trailer looked absolutely gorgeous. I love the re-envisioning of what Spyro is. I can't wait for it. The guy that does SpongeBob's voice is actually going to be doing Spyro's voice, and if you didn't know this, he actually did Spyro's voice in the second and third game. He wasn't the original voice actor for Spyro in the first game, but he did the second and third. I think this is awesome. I loved Spyro. I had the first Spyro game and played the ever-loving snot out of it, and I'm glad that we're getting more of it. And with the remastered, like, this is a perfect time for it. The Insane Trilogy did gangbusters for Activision last year, and now it is coming out for everything else, because it was originally for just the PlayStation 4, but now it's coming out on all the other consoles, which is very interesting, since that was a PlayStation mascot and everything. But it is coming out for everything else, and Spyro, being another PlayStation staple, is going to be coming out everywhere else. But the thing that was interesting was no Switch. There was no Switch mention or anything, which kind of got some people like, well, what's going on there? Because, again, Crash Bandicoot came out for PlayStation 4, now is coming out for all the other stuff. And then they said, oh, well, there is a Switch version, but it's been very far behind, because with Switch, it's still a very new console, and people are having a little bit more difficulty porting their games. It's not just like pressing a button like, oh, well, here's the Switch version. All right, here's the Xbox version. Here's the PlayStation version. It takes a lot to port a game and to get it to work with its controller and have everything feel the right way. There's a lot of testing and all of that. But we did get some news about the Switch version of Spyro. Suspicious Switch listing appears for Spyro the Dragon Reignited Trilogy. After a deluge of rumors and leaks, screenshots spilled everywhere this morning, the Spyro the Dragon Trilogy by Insomniac Games was officially announced today as the Reignited Trilogy. It's currently being developed, we already talked about. We had a tweet come out from Nebellion. Says, so this is apparently on the official Nintendo UK store. Credit goes to, and at White the 7th. I'm not sure who that is. But what it says in that tweet, visitors will notice the description is not complete, and since the website is run by a third-party vendor, the listing may have been made in a rash assumption that the platform was already confirmed with the collection announcement. We reached out for Activision and Toys for Bob for comment on this rumor, and to which we received a response confirming there's nothing to announce at this time. Everything on the record, including platforms, is in the press release. In the little tweet that was sent out with a Nintendo thing is that it was actually called Spyro Remastered. Spyro the Dragon Remaster instead of Reignited Trilogy, Remaster Trilogy. So very interesting that there would be a difference in the name of the trilogy with the Switch version. So I think it might be somebody that just kind of jumping the gun. I'm sure it will be coming out eventually because Toys for Bob, I think, is doing the port for Crash Bandicoot as well. So we'll see what we get. I think it'll be down the road. And the longer the Switch is out, the more games will be getting closer to the release window of the other versions of it, because the longer there is a console out for development, the shorter the times get, essentially. So right now we're still working through some of that, so can't wait for it. I'm looking forward to getting back with some Spyro. I've seen some screenshots comparing the original version to this version, and there's things that's like, that's what that was supposed to be. I would have never guessed that. So very, very excited. It can't come soon enough. And for that price point, that $40 price point, it is perfectly set to make a lot of money. Now, the other big news, and I think this is even bigger news, because we've been waiting. We have been waiting. Marvel Spider-Man has a release date. Marvel Spider-Man will be releasing for PlayStation 4 on September 7th, and pre-orders are open now. Insomniac announced release date alongside the box art, details of DLC, and what's in the game's digital deluxe and collector's edition. The game's post-launch DLC would come in the form of a 3-part campaign called Marvel Spider-Man: The City That Never Sleeps. The only details we have right now are that each chapter will come with new missions, new villains and characters, and additional suits for Spider-Man. The US and Canada will get a digital deluxe edition that comes with the game, a pass for all the DLC, a physical pin of Spider-Man from the box art. The collector's edition, available in all regions, comes with everything from the digital deluxe edition, plus a steelbook case, a mini art book, and a statue of Spidey on something. Insomniac isn't revealing what he's perched on just yet. Pre-orders on any edition come with 3 extra Spider-Man suits. So far, we've only seen Spider-Punk, a Spider drone gadget, and extra skill points to be spent on in-game upgrades, a PSN avatar, and a PlayStation 4 theme designed by the comic book artist Adi Granov. Now, that's not the only article we got with it. I can't wait for Spider-Man. When they announced it, I was like, September 7th. What day is that of the week? And I was like, can I take off work? Don't know yet. Probably won't, but I'm excited for it. It looks gorgeous. I've been a huge Spider-Man game fan since the 90s version that came on it was like the cartoon series, which was absolutely fantastic. It was on the N64 and the PlayStation 1. Of course, I played it on the PlayStation 1. But absolutely fun. Stan Lee was the voice, the narrator and everything. It had the guy that was the voice actor for Peter Parker in the animated series. Had a ton of different suits that had different abilities. The story was really, really great. Mysterio, you fought Mysterio in the game. You fought Doc Ock. There was all the villains and everything, so you couldn't go wrong with it. But now we're getting something that I think is going to surpass it finally. And of course, the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man 2 game was a great take on the open world environment and everything. But we have Marvel Spider-Man gameplay. Story details have been revealed. There's the Avenger Towers and more appeared in Spidey's New York City. Insomniac Games' Marvel Spider-Man officially has a release date, and Game Informer's cover story and supplementary interview with the creative director Brian Inthier dives deep into the opening of the game while also offering plenty of new story details. If you already read up on the newest updates regarding the game's unlockable costumes and microtransactions, which we talked about, that we're going to get no microtransactions, just like God of War doesn't have any microtransactions, which I thank you. Thank you for making a game without all that crap. One of the biggest things is familiar foes. We've seen Mr. Negative, we've seen Kingpin, we've even seen the Shocker in the trailer, so they're promising that they are not going to be making any characters up. They're going to be using foes that have been already established in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, which I think Spider-Man has one of the best Rogues Gallery, second to Batman, of course, but definitely one of the best ones. And having Mr. Negative as been kind of like the key focus of all of the trailers and everything has been interesting because I think he's going to play a significantly small part in this game. I'm wondering how Green Goblin, which of course is, Spider-Man's Joker, essentially, if you don't know anything about Spider-Man, that we're going to be getting somebody that is very, very smart, very, very evil. I'm curious to see if he's going to be the main villain or somebody, like, if he's going to be just like a little side mission, which I think would be interesting to put him in as a side mission. Is it going to be Doc Ock, or are we going to see the Sinister Six? Do we see Venom anywhere? Kingpin in there? Like, we've seen Spider-Man fight so many villains that he's got so many that he can choose from to make a really compelling story. So I'm glad to see that they're going to be using just the villains that have been already made and everything, and seeing the whole universe, the actual Marvel universe, work in this, having Avengers Tower and everything, I think is perfect. Don't change anything. A truly marvelous New York City. While Insomniac has gone to great lengths to create a realistic version of New York featuring iconic landmarks and the city's familiar layout, some liberties have been taken. That rings particularly true for the fictional buildings that hint at a wider Marvel universe. The Wakanda Embassy, the Avengers Tower, and the Sanctum Sanctorum are all featured in Marvel's Spider-Man. However, Insomniac would not confirm or deny whether any of the characters associated with these buildings would feature in the game at all. And so while Spider-Man will obviously focus in on Spidey's specific world, it's clear that Insomniac has built out a world that acknowledges the larger Marvel universe. I love that. It just shows that Spider-Man is part of the universe, and I think that's one of the greatest things that has been done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that even from the beginning they were making something bigger than one film. And we saw the Arkham series do that. They mentioned Metropolis several times. They mentioned Superman in different ways and all of that. So I'm glad to see that they're doing something, already building it in from the ground up. We're new duds. We've seen the Spider-Man suit already, but one of the things I think is the most curious and I think will pay off extremely well is Mary Jane in this game. That Mary Jane is actually going to be a playable character, and we've seen some of that in one of the trailers or a gameplay that they showed at E3, and I'm really, really excited to get that dynamic between both of them, because I want to say that Mary Jane is, in this version, this Spider-Man story, is a reporter herself. So I think that'll be very awesome to see. And they talked a little bit down in the article that they're going to take the Homecoming route with the Uncle Ben side and everything, that they won't even show Uncle Ben. They won't even bring it up, really. But that you won't see Uncle Ben die, which is good, because that's been ran in the dirt like nobody's business. But Spider-Man, it is just a ton of awesome stuff. I did mention that earlier that there will be no microtransactions and that there will be a ton of unlockable suits. Some just for you. Then this is from the Game Informer article. Spider-Punk will be one of them, part of the game's pre-order bonus. This combination of a sleeveless denim jacket and a spiked mohawk adds a strange ability of allowing Peter to pull out a guitar and play a sonic shockwave knockdown attack. There you go. Noir, seemingly based off the Spidey spin-off set in 1933. No ability has been shown off for this darker suit as of yet. And then the wrestling suit. This hasn't been formally shown off, but a poster in Peter's apartment shows his get-up when facing Crusher Hogan. And I love that we're getting other suits. I'm sure we're going to be getting a symbiote suit. I'm sure we're going to be getting like a normal, not white spider symbol. Like, there's a ton of other things. The 2099 Spider-Man. You got a ton of suits to choose from. Superior Spider-Man, I think that would be a cool way to do it. Man, if that was part of the game, that would be so interesting. Maybe even for a DLC, like where you play either as Doc Ock or you play as Spider-Man. If you don't know what the Superior Spider-Man is, you missed out on a great comic. Doc Ock changes bodies with Peter Parker. Now, Doc Ock in this comic book is dying, So he swaps bodies with Peter Parker and essentially like signs Peter's death warrant because he switched body. It would be an awesome story. I doubt that they're going to do that, but that would be an awesome story. Wow, that would be so cool. I'm just excited now. I'm really excited. And I know the PUBG players are excited hearing this. Second Player Unknown's Battleground map, Miramar, is coming to the Xbox One in May. During a PAX East panel, the titular PlayerUnknown Battleground himself, Brendan Green, confirmed that PUBG's second map will be coming to Xbox One next month. The desert map Miramar has been available on PC since December, with the team working hard to get it ported over on the Xbox One version, which is following a different content and balanced roadmap while the PC version launched into 1.0 and out of early access with the release of Miramar. It's not clear if the map heralds the same thing for the Xbox One. The rest of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds panel was a celebrity-filled match of game and electronic musician, apparently PUBG superfan Dedemus, sitting with Green and Microsoft's Larry Major Nelson, talking about and playing the game. Herb lent his account to Dedemus as the artist explained his love for the game. He said, I actually have a lot of chicken dinners. My own tag is Dedemus with an underscore in the front of blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So there you go. It's coming out in May. And if you are a PUBG fan, rejoice because you're getting a new map. The more I play of Fortnite, I'm like, this map is huge. I usually go to the same place every time or around the same place. But it's huge. But I'm seeing the same stuff over and over and over. I'm like, yeah, I usually get killed right here because people are around here. And then I avoid it. I avoid the big towns. But that's pretty interesting. I'm glad that we're seeing them putting more and more stuff with it because I think that's the biggest thing with these games as services is they have to keep people engaged. And this next article kind of deals with some of that. Lawbreakers devs next game, Radical Heights, is a battle royale with a game show twist. Boss Key Productions' previous game, Lawbreakers, failed to meet the studio's expectations after a troubling launch. Since then, Boss Key has announced that it would step back from the game to work on new projects. Today, the team has announced one of its upcoming games, Radical Heights. Taking place in the not-so-distant future of 2023, Radical Heights is a free-to-play battle royale shooter fitting into the growing genre dominated by PUBG and Fortnite, of course. Radical Heights has a colorful and zany aesthetic with eye-popping 80s stylized visuals. It also comes with its own unique twist where you search for prizes and cash that can be used to buy weapons or items. Rather than losing your earnings, you keep the cash with you from match to match. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. As you progress, you play through randomized game show moments. When you spin a wheel, open a prize door, or just mow down another contestant so you can grab the cash yourself. The more cash you have, the more famous you become. Exactly what that means remains a mystery, but it could allude to some sort of in-game reputation meter. Radical Heights, blah, 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 blah. Director Zach Lowry says, this is a 5-month passion project for the studio as we're creating and publishing the game entirely by ourselves. We're huge fans of the Battle Royale games along with the bright, inviting reverence of the 80s aesthetic. Because of that, we want to put our own spin on the genre and create a futuristic 80s world that takes place in 2023 during an over-the-top game show where contestants battle it out for fame and prizes. I think one of the coolest things that is going to be with this is this whole fame system, or the more money you get, the more notoriety you get, is that you become a bigger target. That's what I would think in my mind, that you would become a bigger target because you have more money, etc. So people are gunning for you the whole time. I think that would be a really cool way to do it, where you're pitting more people against the person that has more money. Is it fair? Probably not, but if the person has more money than everybody, they're probably a better player. So that's just my thought on that. Radical Heights will launch on Steam Early Access on April 10th. Although it's free to play, you can also buy a $14.99 package that includes exclusive items, bonuses, and more. Get the free to play version. Don't get the things that you have to pay for. That's just my opinion. This was a very interesting article. I know we're doing a few more articles than we normally do, but we're trying to make up for Thursday. PAX East, well, this was this past weekend and everything. PAX East 2018 Final Fantasy 15 Shadow of the Tomb Raider collaboration has been announced. During a panel at PAX East, Square Enix has announced that collaboration between Final Fantasy 15 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider is on the way. Only a single image was shown at the end of the panel, teased the news, but no other information was revealed other than it was coming soon. We've seen Final Fantasy do a ton of stuff. They had a collaboration with Assassin's Creed. It's one of the best weapons in the whole game, that and the shield. So I definitely see this just being another way to get the game out there. And for people to see Final Fantasy, and hopefully they're thinking maybe that it will sell the game even more. That's just my thought and my opinion on that. Now, we talked a little bit about Telltale's Walking Dead, the final season, last week or the week before that, and that it is such a huge game that it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a ton of fun, and it's also the end of Clementine's story. But there was something that came out recently, or I think it might have been today, that intrigues me a lot, because I think this is something that is needed with Telltale's games, and that's unscripted fights. The end is nigh for Telltale's Walking Dead video game, but the popular survival horror series will be adding unscripted zombie fights to its final season to keep players on their toes. Clementine's journey is finally coming to an end after spending the past several years navigating through zombie apocalypse in the Telltale's Walking Dead. While the new season brings back everything players love about the series, the developers opted to add some new gameplay mechanics into the new season to spice things up. Telltale Games revealed during their PAX East panel this weekend that they're adding unscripted zombie encounters to The Walking Dead. Furthermore, there will also be a time jump to feature an older and more hardened Clementine, and Telltale will be going back to a more worn-out tone similar to the comics and after A New Frontier. I think that this is one of the better choices, especially with gameplay-wise, because a lot of the aspects of the Telltale games are very predictable. There are a lot of the same things. I know I made the joke while playing, I think it might have been Batman, that as long as you just hit R2 and try to move the little reticle around and get it in the circle, that it will happen or whatever. So making the gameplay a little bit more interesting will help the games a lot. And having unscripted things, something that's a surprise to you, is something that will only heighten your sense of, like, I need to get this done. I need to be safe. Like, there's always something out to get you. I think that just adds to the whole story as a whole. And I can't wait to get a hold of this. We don't have a release date yet, that other than that it will be coming out this year. And I like that it's going to be going back to a more, not necessarily sepia tone, but a more dingy kind of color palette. I know that was, like, New Frontier was very colorful, which I didn't have a problem with, actually. I thought it was fine. I didn't really care that much. But I think to keep in line with the first two seasons, going back to that darker, more dingy palette of colors and everything will definitely help. You can look at, like, the first Gears of War game. Like, there was not a lot of color in that game, and it made it look very, not necessarily depressing, but it made it look like a dire situation. And I think that's what they're trying to go with the story, and it fits perfectly with it. GTA 5. Now, and this game is, it's not like Skyrim, that it's the game that won't die, but this is the game that just keeps on making money. GTA 5 has made more money than any film, book, or game, says analyst. Industry analyst Doug Kreutz says Grand Theft Auto 5 has made more money than any other form of media in history, with over 90 million units sold and $6 billion in revenue. Kreutz, managing director and senior research analyst covering media and entertainment sector at Cowen, told MarketWatch that the game has made more than blockbuster movies like Star Wars and Gone with the Wind, which both brought in around $3 billion in theaters when adjusted for inflation. Kreutz estimates that even with home entertainment sales, which puts in the ballpark of $1 billion, the films doesn't come close to Rockstar's 2013 title. I think it's a wild outlier, says Kreutz, adding, that's not to say that Rockstar won't have any other big hits. It may, but another GTA 5 isn't likely. Michael Jackson had a lot of hit albums, but there was only one Thriller. Now, a lot of that comes into there's information that we don't get, that these analysts gets and everything. That's a ton of money to be the most bought, make the most money out of anything. Like, there's a ton of games out there that are very successful. You look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty has sold so many games. Clearly, though, every year there's a different iteration and everything. But since 2013, it is 2018 right now, 5 years, this game has outsold movies, other games, TV shows, books. It's crazy. CDs, I'm assuming that's going to be in there as well. It's just crazy. And good job, Rockstar. And I think with the online portion of it, of course, that has a ton to do with it, because Take-Two has already said that over 50% of their revenue each year is now from microtransactions on online services or games as services. So that has a ton to do with it. But to hold that title, man, that is amazing that a game gets to hold that. And GTA 5 had such a great story. Like, if you have GTA 5 and you only got it for the online part, you're doing yourself a disservice by not playing the story, because the story was fantastic. So that's my 2 cents on that. But it is just absolutely mind-blowing that a video game gets to hold that distinction. And who better to have it than Rockstar? That's just my opinions on that. Before we get into game releases this week, our sponsor is patreon.com/nerdcave. You love nerdy stuff. You love video games. You love getting access to stuff early. Well, guess what? Patreon.com/nerdcave is the place for you. We've got access to seasonal content, exclusive videos, raffles. You want to be our Patreon producer like Kayla Palmer has been? Hey, that's all you got to do. Go over there and be like, man, I want to be a Patreon producer. I want to get my name said. I want to be the producer. That's all you have to do. Go over to patreon.com/nerdcave. And it is, one thing, I want to say thank you to all the people that have supported us over at Patreon. It has helped us tremendously. It's helped us get the set that we have. It's helped us get business license and all of that kind of stuff that you never think about. You're like, oh, I'm going to make videos, but then you start turning it into a business and all of that. It's helped us grow immensely, and it's only going to help us keep growing. And we've actually upgraded the internet at the Nerd Cave and all of that, so we won't be having any more drop streams or drop frames. Like, it is amazing internet. So we're only getting better because of the amazing support. And if you want any of our content early, or if you want to just be like, man, I enjoy what you do, the $1 tier is amazing. We've got that thing so jam-packed. The $5 tier, jam-packed with goodness. The $10 tier, jam-packed with goodness. And the cool thing about Patreon is, if you support us at a higher tier, let's say you supported us at $10, you got the $10 tier, you got the $5 tier, and you got the $1 tier. They all stack together, and it is so nice to just get that support that you believe in us. Like, even if it's $1, like $1 goes so far. Like, it really does. And if you can't support us, I understand that 100%. The way to support us other ways is to share our content, to like the content, to comment on the content, to review us, to rate us. Anything that you can do, the more you help us get out that we're doing this kind of stuff and everything, helps us be seen more and more. But if you do want to support us financially, go over to patreon.com/nerdcave and just toss us a few dollars. Make Robbie holler. Robbie likes to holler. He does. He grew up in Jay. I don't know where I'm going with that. Spider-Man is so long away. September 7th is so long away. If I wanted to know what the newest games were, you're in the right place. You're right here. You're sitting down, like, Pops, tell me what the newest games are. Well, I got you. Don't call me Pops, though. I don't know why I went with that. Anyway, game releases for April 9th. This was last yesterday. The Bunker for the Switch. Game releases for today, April 10th. Call of Duty World War II, The War Machine DLC for the PlayStation 4. Extinction for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Masters of Anima. Not Enema, Anima. For the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Owlboy for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Project Nimbus code Mirara. I don't know. PlayStation 4. Regalia of Men and Monarchs Royal Edition PlayStation 4. Rick and Morty Virtual Reality for the PlayStation VR. Starlit Adventures for the PlayStation 4. Super Amazeballs for the PlayStation VR. Super Daryl Deluxe for the PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. Time Carnage for the PlayStation VR, Rift, and Vive. The game releases for tomorrow, April 11th. Bomb Slinger X for the Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Deep Ones for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Vita. Woo! The Vita lives. I have to do that every time I get to see a Vita game on here. Earthlock for the Xbox One. League of Evil for the PlayStation 4 and Vita. I've already done Vita Lives, but Vita lives. Operation Warcade for the PlayStation VR and RoboCraft Infinity for the Xbox One and Yes's Origin, or Yeezy's, I don't know, Origin for the Xbox One. Developers, like, when you're sitting in that meeting and you're like, what should we call our game? Send it to me. If I can pronounce it, you're good. You're in the clear. If I can't pronounce it, then you need to pick something else. Just my suggestion to you. Don't make your games sound weird, and you'll be golden. You'll be golden, Pony Boy. You'll be golden. So there you go, guys. There are all the games that are releasing yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and pick up some of them. I would recommend Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice tomorrow on the Xbox One. If you don't have it on the PlayStation 4, if you don't have a PlayStation 4, check it out there. I don't know if it's going to be the cross-play thing that Xbox does with PC and everything, but I highly suggest it. Ninja Theory did a fantastic job. It does a very interesting way of looking at mental health and everything. And if you like this Dark Souls trilogy or Demon Souls, has a lot of the same kind of combat mechanisms. It's very brutal, and like you will die a lot in the game and everything. And there's a mechanic that the more you die, this like infection goes up your arm, and like it will. Some say it will erase your save. I don't think it will, but it does get, like, it has ramifications to it. But if it does get rid of your save, I think that's pretty cool in the same way. You know, that's cool to me. With me, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite recently, and specifically the Explode mode, the high explosive mode. It is a ton of fun. It is very quick, fast paced, especially if like you land in the same place as somebody else. I think Fortnite is just doing everything right now. And at PAX East, there was a lot of Fortnite stuff there and everything. I just find it very interesting. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, PUBG is so much better. It's more realistic. To each his own, in my opinion. Like, to each his own. Play whatever you think is best. Like, whatever you enjoy more, play it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I've been playing a ton of Fortnite and have been having a ton of fun with it. I like that Fortnite is continually bringing out different modes. We had Blitz mode a few weeks ago. Now we have high explosives. I'm curious to see how long that lasts, and then what they're going to roll out next. Of course, you know, the regular modes and everything are still great. I enjoy all of the different things that they do and all of that. But yeah, that's what I've been playing mostly. I jumped back into Horizon Zero Dawn, trying to get that one done. I don't know if I'm going to beat it before I get to God of War, which is April 20th, which is right around the river bend. 10 more days. So we'll see where I land on that. I do want to finish Horizon Zero Dawn because just the story that I got back in, I'm like, what's going on? And I started playing. I'm like, oh yeah, this story is really good. This game looks great. So that's been what I've been playing mostly. I haven't really picked anything else up other than those two, and mostly Fortnite, just because it's easy to pick up one or two games before I have to go do something. So that's what I've been doing with the live streams and everything. Me and Robbie are going to be playing Fortnite together some. We're going to be playing some different stuff. I've got Humans Fall Flat on the Switch, so we'll be going and exploring that. There's a ton of stuff coming out, so we're going to be just playing a ton of new stuff and hoping that you're enjoying it. We do go live each and every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. So check us out live. If you can't check us out live, then check us out over on the video on demand on YouTube, or check us out on podcast services around the globe, including Spotify, and rate us. Like, go ahead and put that 5-star down there and be like, man, this show is awesome. I love this show because of X, Y, and Z. And it just helps us a ton with discoverability and everything. We do have a Dungeons and Dragons show, if you're into that, called Nerd Caves and Dragons. And then we have a weekly podcast called the Nerd Cave Podcast. We keep it very close to the nerd brand, if you don't realize that yet, where we kind of just cover all of the pop culture stuff. That doesn't include video games. Every now and then video games will get brought up and we'll talk about it and everything, but it's mostly the other side of the pop culture stuff that we deal with. But we hope that you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, go ahead and hit the like button, share it with somebody that you love, and come back on Thursday when I answer more questions, talk about more awesome games, and let you know what is coming to the Switch, because Thursday is Switch Day. There's so many games for the Switch. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This has been Zach. Have a blessed week.